When you are developing a web application, it's common to have a template coming from a designer or to use a theme from an online marketplace. Most likely, these templates will come with a styles file and a mockup, usually some static HTML files. The styles file could be Sass, Less, CSS, or even something else. For the forum application, we have prepared the mockups along with the CSS file. Make sure to download these files. You will find the link in the description of this lesson. The first thing we have to do is to import the CSS in our application. So I will copy the CSS file and I will put it under public/style CSS. There are various ways to add styling to a Vue application. We will start with including a link for the CSS file inside our root index.html file. This will import the whole list of styles from the file. To structure our HTML properly, I will open up the thread.html file on the browser and inspect the elements. The container div has a class of container. So, within our root component template, app_vue, I will create a div with a class of container and I will wrap the rest of the markup. The next thing to do is to structure the contents of the page home component according to the design. To help myself, I will copy the HTML code from the browser and I will update these static values with our dynamic values. Let's see what we got here. On top we have the breadcrumbs. I will delete this for now. Next we have this h1, which is a thread title. This div contains all the thread information, so we would want to create one of these for each of the threads we display in the home page. Thus, I will copy our v4 here. Great. This is the title of the thread, so I will replace it with our dynamic value. Here we have some information regarding the author of the thread that we will look into later. For now, I will remove them. Here we have the post list, which is a list of all the replies of the thread. So here we will want to create one div with a class of post for each thread post. To do that, I will copy the v4 we created in our initial template. I will place it here for a bit so I can easily copy-paste the dynamic values. So here we want to create one div with a class of post for each post in the thread posts array. Awesome. Here we have the user info, where we want to display the name of the user that wrote the post. We have that here, so I will copy-paste it inside the static value. Because we don't have links for the profile page yet, I will replace this with a hash. I will do that for every link that we don't have the route yet. This is the image that is the avatar of the user that wrote the post. We haven't used this value yet, but we can easily implement it now. To make a dynamic binding for an attribute in our HTML, we use the colon symbol, which is the shorthand for vbind. Here, instead of the static URL, we want to display the avatar URL of the user. We have this value in the avatar property of each user. So here we have this code that will bring us the user object that created the post, and then we can access the value that we are looking for, in this case, the avatar. Next up, we have some stats related to the user. For now, we'll remove the last two, and I will keep the posts in case we want to implement it soon. And here we have the post content. This is the actual text that the user wrote and wanted to send as a reply or as a thread. We have this value here where we get the text property of the post. Then we have a button here that allows the user to edit the thread that I will remove for now. We don't have the formatted date yet, but we can have the published at property of our post for now. The reactions are a lot of fun, but I will also remove for now, since we are still just getting started. Great, then we have other posts, but we don't want to hardcode this because we will create a new div with a class of post for every post in our posts array here. I will remove our previous code from the bottom of the template and let's see what we get in the browser. Awesome! We have this view logo on top that comes from our app view component, and we now have this nice presentation of our threads and posts that we get from our theme. This looks much better, right? If it doesn't work for you right after you have included the style sheet, you might need to give it a refresh since you have changed the index.html file.